so much for clicking on the video. My name is Leah, and let's recap and review Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. This is season 12, episode 4. Not much happened, but then stuff did happen. It was a decent episode. It wasn't I wasn't in awe of it, but it was decent. So the episode opens up, and it is the day after the night before, where Crystal decided to leave because she was triggered. And, her, Sutton, and Diana went back to the resort. So who's staying at the house is Garcelle, Erica, Lisa, Dorit, and Kyle. They asked Dorit how she's doing because we all know she's been having panic attacks and having a hard time sleeping. And she was like, yeah, she had a rough night. And Garcelle was like, well, why didn't you say nothing? And she was like, I didn't want to impose. We then get this story from Lisa Rinna about Lois. And if you don't know, Lois is Lisa Rinna's mom. Unfortunately, she had a stroke this episode, but in real life she has transitioned on. So throughout this season we're going to be watching Lisa dealing with the death of her mom, which I hope I don't never have to deal with. I know it's going to happen, but I am not ready. I need my parents to hit 100 before they leave this earth, because I can't. I love both my mom and my dad too much. I can't. So we find out that Lois was almost a victim of a serial killer. I guess the article that they showed is maybe that the gun jam, because it says something about a foiled firearm or a foiled shot. So I guess it seemed like something jammed, and then she was able to get away or fight back, but the guy turned out to be a serial killer. Shout out to her for surviving. So here's my thing about Dorit's whole situation. I'm kind of getting tired of her using it to shame people in some way. It's annoying. It is getting annoying. Now, y'all already know I said I didn't know how much I believed it. I am very much I'm right now, I'm 70-30. 70% of me believes it really genuinely happened. 30% of me is maybe. And the only reason why it's 30% is because I keep seeing all people who are super fans keep digging and posting information online where it makes you kind of your spidey senses are tingling, and more so it's kind of the situation did happen, but they're adding more to it, if that makes sense. What I read somewhere was that she did get robbed, but it wasn't as bad as she's making it seem. There were no weapons involved, allegedly, and they didn't really it's just a lot of misinformation out there. Or would I say not misinformation? I would say a lot of information that contradicts itself. So I'm just kind of But I don't think Dorit is that good of an actor to show us these emotions that she has, because it does feel believable. But I am kind of annoyed with her kind of using it as a trump card, even in the way in which she was trying to come at Crystal, even though Crystal worked my nerves this whole entire episode. Crystal is shifty. Crystal is, people like Crystal, I would stay away from. We could be cordial, but I wouldn't rock with you. I couldn't, because we'll get to it. So, we find out that Diana and Sutton are not going to come over. They're going to have breakfast in Sutton's room. Mind you, I'm surprised that Sutton even wanted to have breakfast with Diana after Diana said she was clumsy, she was weird, and all of this stuff. And I'm a lot of people pointed it out, but I didn't mention it in the video. The words in which Diana used to describe Sutton were the exact same words Crystal used when they had that whole ugly leather pants. What am I jealous of, Crystal? Your ugly leather pants? Because Crystal said the same thing. You're weird, you're awkward. She said all of that stuff to Sutton when they were having that argument. So that lets me know that Crystal been talking Cash Money-ish, or been talking very negatively about Sutton to Diana, for Diana to come up with this description of her. Again, y'all, I don't understand why Diana has a glam squad, because this look real pedestrian. Now, it might be worth more than where I live and my car put together, but this look very pedestrian. I was just kind of and even at the end of the night when she showed up to the party, it's the same look over and over and over. So I don't understand why we need a glam squad. I don't. I don't get it. So they don't come over. Garcelle ends up calling Crystal on the phone. I didn't like how Garcelle called her because she kind of had her on speaker, but I think she took her off. And then like all the ladies were like trying to eavesdrop, but they invited Crystal over because Garcelle contacted Crystal the night before, and Crystal was like she wanted to go home. Like she didn't feel comfortable there. She wanted to go home, which is understandable. Like, if you don't feel comfortable, go back to where you feel comfortable. So they invite her over, and they're just kind of like, girl, what is it? So Crystal, before she even, she feels like she's about to cry. Like, you can tell, like, she's like about to cry. And basically she says she didn't like the way that people were policing her words, which is understandable. But what, like I said, Crystal is shifty. She's shifty because they asked Crystal what was it. And basically what happened was what Crystal said was true, but I don't think I know some people were trying to say like, no, Crystal's timing was okay because that's in the comments. But honestly, the more I think about it, it wasn't needed. Like, yes, she could be triggered and she had every right to be triggered in that moment. But two things can coexist. She could have been triggered and it still could have been the wrong time. Like, the conversation wasn't about you and Sutton's beef. Why did you bring up something that happened a year ago? Granted, you were triggered by the way in which they were telling Sutton, like, how to feel because that's how you felt from the group. But all of a sudden you made the conversation about you when it wasn't about you. So I think that's why the ladies were all thrown off. Like, what are you doing? Because you made the situation about you. And even in this moment, she redirected the conversation again to throw Sutton under the bus, allegedly, because they're having a conversation and she didn't like the fact that they policed the word violation or violated. And granted, when I was reviewing, I felt like the word violated was too strong of a word. And I still feel like it was too strong of a word. Even though I know what the context is, it's like, okay, if you keep telling someone violated you, words mean different things. The same word could have different connotation in anybody's language. So to say someone violated you and then to put in there that they walked in on you naked would make people think it was in a sexual manner. Like, and she kept, like, she was acting like she didn't understand that. And then I get it. You don't want people to tell you how to feel or how to word things. But if they're telling you, like, sis, that's a strong word, it is a strong word. So then she redirects the conversation because Garcelle basically says the whole I don't see color thing. So when Sutton had that conversation with Kyle and Crystal, Sutton says she doesn't see color, and Garcelle brings up, she was like, you know, honestly, I felt like anything Sutton said, you were gonna hold it against her, no matter what it was. And then Crystal was like, do you feel that way now after knowing me for 2 years? And Garcelle said, honestly, I don't know. And I'm with Garcelle. Because then Crystal chimes in and said there was a lot more things that were said that was very dark. So then Erica's like, what? So then everyone is sitting around trying to like fathom, like, what did she say that was dark? And then Crystal was like, I don't want to go there. And that's why I think she's shifty and I wouldn't be friends with nobody like that. Because like everyone was saying, if you say that someone said something that was dark as it pertains to a conversation about race, everyone's going to think you said something racist. Like, that's just what, that's the, like, what did she, like, everyone's going to think she said something racist. And then for Crystal not to want to put it out there, it's like you have a, like someone says, that's like Dorit said, that's playing dirty. That's like you having a load, like you're playing Russian roulette. Like, you're not trying to tell them somebody, but then you allow everybody around you to make up something so egregious and so horrible in their head when you could just say it because you brought it up. And I know some people were like, well, Garcelle brought it up. Yes, Garcelle said what she said, but Crystal didn't have to take the bait and say, well, she said something even worse, but then not explain what it is. That doesn't make sense to me. And like, Kyle says that like she doesn't really remember anything, and I didn't like how Crystal was like, you were drunk. Okay, bitch, I could have been drunk. When I get drunk, I still remember. So what are we talking about? It wasn't like I was pissy drunk or blacked out drunk. And I don't like people like that. So because Crystal was like, y'all are so quick to dismiss other people's feelings, but you dismiss Kyle like it was nothing. When she was like, I don't kind of remember her saying, you were drunk. Okay, see, she's shifty. I don't care what none of y'all say. Lady shifty. She's shifty. We are back in, Beverly Hills, and everybody's getting ready for Sutton's, basically an open house for her designer that was stuck in immigration. He actually has some nice pieces. We found out everybody's going except Erica. She don't want to go. She act like anybody would miss her presence. Lisa is not going. I didn't mention this when I was talking about when they were in La Quinta, but Erica brought up the victims, like basically her lawsuits. She brought up all her lawsuits, mainly seeing that because Kyle said, Erica, you seem so much better. It's been a year since we've been in this place, and you just seem like a breath of fresh air. And she was just like, yeah, it's because like almost everything's almost done. And, she was like, thank y'all for being there for me when I was a monster. I was like, you still are, but okay, lady. And I don't know how they got on conversation of the victims. Oh, I think Garcelle was like, you just weren't remorseful. And Erica's like, I can't be. Like, Garcelle said you didn't seem remorseful. And Erica's like, I can't be. She was like, but I am remorseful. Because she was like, all I've done is, like, I've given them access to everything so they can clear it and look at it. And then Erica goes, like, she was like, some of them people could not be telling the truth, basically. Like, how do we know they didn't get paid? And everyone was like, you don't think they got paid? Even though everybody kind of looked at her like, girl, what? And Erica was like, think about it. And the truth is like, I'll give Erica this. There's been a lot of times where there's been cases where people have been accused of like abuse and even like financial, like sexual and all that stuff abuse by a large number of people. And some people who dive into that group of saying like they're a victim of some person, some of them aren't even victims. So that could be true, but the majority of those people are victims. So you getting screwed either way because you did something you had no business doing. So I get that part. I also get the part where she was like, I can't really show remorse that much because then like I'm in a legal situation. And it is true in the sense that if she does show like she is remorseful, it's an admission of guilt. So it's like they could use that against her in court and be like, see, if she ain't do nothing wrong, she wouldn't be so sad or she wouldn't be so remorseful. Like, Your Honor, this proves that like she did this to my client. So I get that. It just in the court of public law, in law, like, yes, but in the court of public opinion, you just look like an evil witch. You do. Like, we just not gonna we're gonna call it spade a spade. You look evil, but I understand a lot more now. I do. But back to Sutton's party. Everybody's getting ready. The designer that Sutton had actually had some nice pieces. I like the outfit she had on. The thing was $17,000. But basically it was a blazer dress reversed. He's a what's the guy's name? Oh, I didn't take down his name, y'all. But he basically does couture in France, so he brought it here. I thought the dress was cute. I have a cute little blazer dress that I got. I just got to lose a little bit more weight, and then I'm going to squeeze into it, y'all. Squeeze into it. But I liked it. It was the reverse where the buttons were on the back, and then she had a pretty, like, little bow there. She looked cute. That dress was $17,000. Sutton got cash. Sutton got pesos, guap, whatever you want to call it. Sutton got that money. We then see Diana getting ready. Y'all, I really don't think Diana got the money she say she do. Like, even though she did win 250, the article says she won $250 million. It's not giving what, like, I feel like $250 million should give. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe my expectations of what someone can do with $250 million is too, like, high. But, like, her glam squad doesn't give when Diana shows up looking the same all the time. All the time. Like, I don't know. I guess I'm just expecting that if she's worth that much, I thought her fashions and everything was going to be on the level of, like, Dorit or Erica. Like, well, more so Erica, because Erica basically has the same exact money. Well, used to have the same exact, like, income or wealth status like Diana back in the day. And Erica used to give us different looks every time. And I don't know, I was just expecting that from Diana. When you tell me you make $250 million and then you show up with like 8 Cartier rings and the starting price is $18,000 to $40,000, I'm expecting a little, I'm like, pop out, like step out, girl. Like, I can't. So we see everybody is getting ready. Kyle and Dorita are in the car. Kyle's, I guess, got like a picture from her ring that some random man at her house taking pictures. She was a lot calmer than me, but maybe Mauricio is at the house, so she's not that worried. It kind of freaked out Dorit. And then we see everybody pull up. Garcelle is the first one to get there. Then it's Diana and Crystal, and then Dorit and what's her name? And Kyle. Dorit had an issue with there being paparazzi there. And here's my thing. This is what I say when I'm like, I'm kind of, I don't know if I mentioned that in the earlier in the video, but you know, sometimes you gotta backtrack. Be forgetting things. But I'm getting annoyed with this, with her, with Dorit, only because it's like, why does Sutton need to tell you that there's paparazzi? Like, do what you did. You walked in, you walked past them, and you didn't answer any questions. Like, why do you need to know this? Granted, I understand, like, okay, if they ask you about it, you know, maybe I should have told you. But, like, it's kind of that constant of, like, you know, I've been through so much. And it's like, okay, yes, but girl, you can't keep using what you've been through to justify, like, everything. Because then she did it in the conversation with Crystal. When Crystal said she wasn't in a safe space, and she was like, girl, you don't know what safe space is. In her confessional. And I was like, okay, Dorit, we get it. We get it, sis. We get it. Like, calm down. So they walk in and Garcelle beelines to Sutton. And she was like, you good? You good? Okay. So then Kyle pops up and Kyle was like, ask Sutton, is everything okay with you and Crystal? And Sutton's like, yeah. And then Kyle tells Sutton, she's like, well, girl, Crystal said you might have said some dark stuff when we had that conversation a year ago. And I'm just letting you know this is what she's telling the group. And it was funny because Kyle is taking it back that Sutton isn't as reactionary as she used to be. And I just think Sutton knows the game now. Like, everyone made fun of her last season. I thought it was funny. But I still like Sutton. But a lot of fans didn't like Sutton. After that situation with Crystal, a lot of people clowned her about, you know, her roly thing on her face to soothe herself. A lot of people just didn't see it for Sutton. And I think maybe she just was like, you know what? I'm going to have to put my big girl panties on and just some things, you know, if I'm going to cry about it in the car away from cameras. I just don't think Sutton wants to give them that. And Kyle is annoyed by it because I guess Kyle wants to see Sutton be frantic. But she was like, who is this person? Because honestly, Sutton's reaction was kind of different. I thought she was going to either blow up. Well, in the sense of blow up, I mean, like, kind of have more to say than what she did. I knew she wasn't going to, like, show, like, you know, make an ass of herself at her own event. But I did expect a lot more from her. But Sutton basically was like, I thought we moved past that. I'm not going back. That's a year ago. I'm going to move forward. So then Garcelle comes up and she's like, that's your friend. Watch your friend. Because she said because Garcelle was like, she's making it seem like you said something that would change the trajectory of our friendship. So, and Sutton was like, I didn't say that. So like a lot of people were split online. Some people felt like Sutton's reaction proved that she might have said something because she wanted to move past it. Other people were like, maybe she just didn't want to go back because there's nothing to go back to. I will say, I just think, to me, this whole situation made Crystal look shifty to me. She really did. Because then they all like, so then Garcelle and Kyle are sitting down and they usher Crystal to come over and they start asking Crystal questions. And Crystal is more taken aback from Garcelle because she feels like Garcelle intact her integrity. When Garcelle says she felt like Crystal kind of set Sutton up with the whole, like, tell me you're that girl. Tell me you're that girl situation. And Crystal says she doesn't want to be, what's it called? What's the word? it's not probed, maybe debated. I think it was debated over the fact that she used the word dark, because she was like, dark is not a harsh word. And it is. Like, this is my thing. Words can have multiple meanings based off of your tone, in the context of what you're saying. And then you said it was something very problematic, but it was something forgivable. So that to me doesn't mean it was dark. It means that she might have made like a faux pas, or she said something that was like off colored. But to say something is dark, especially like for Garcelle, who's a black woman like me, you would kind of think like, okay, was she racist? Cause that's my first mind. Like she said something hella racist because y'all was talking about race. And I don't like how Crystal didn't say anything. And I was glad that everybody was looking at her like, you brought it up. You might as well say what it is. Like, say what it is. And I don't even think Sutton was like, we can move forward. Like, we don't even have to go back. Like, me and her are good. And Garcelle was like, okay, I'm glad y'all are good, but I still want to know what the comment was. And that to me makes, like, I don't know. It makes Crystal look shifty. I don't care what nobody say. Y'all can still like Crystal. I don't hate Crystal. I think she's all right. But Crystal does a lot where Crystal does things that are very, what's the word? They're childish and they're cowardice. And it reminds me of what girls used to do in high school, where it's like you're the focal point of the bullying, or you're the focal point of like taunting. And instead of just being strong and standing up for yourself, you direct it to somebody else. Or if everyone's like making fun of you in the group, and then you got one girl in your group that everybody kind of doesn't like, or they're still getting to know, you direct all the like nasty comments or the joking onto her. Because that's what Crystal did. She threw Sutton under the bus. And it makes it worse because Crystal won't say what she said. And like everybody said, it's dirty because you're not explaining to them what was said. So now everyone is making up their own assumptions of what was said. So when you get cussed out for it, you need to take your L. Because it looked like Sutton and them gonna get Crystal together, which she deserves. Like, I don't like when people do that stuff. That's reminiscent of somebody calling you on the phone and being like, oh, I'm gonna call you back. We need something, like, I gotta talk to you. It's something really important. Like, we need to have a serious conversation. I'm gonna call you at 10 o'clock and it's like 3 o'clock in the morning. Why would you wait till 10 o'clock to tell me what you got to say, but you call me at 3 o'clock in the morning? Like, that causes anxiety. That would piss me off. That would piss me off. So the episode ends with Dorit having like a therapy session to help her get through her situation. I don't remember what the lady hooked to her fingers, but I guess it was like something to monitor, like, I don't know, her heart rate or like sounds or something. It was a sad scene. But I will say I ain't see no tears. But I don't know. I don't want to question someone that they would fake a robbery, but we've seen it before. But hopefully, if it really did happen, I do hope she can get through it. Like, nobody should feel unsafe in their home that they paid millions of dollars for. Like, there should be one place for everybody where they can be at peace, feel like themselves, and feel safe. And it's not fair, nor is it right that there's other people who would harm that for anybody, because everybody deserves it. But that's how the episode ended, with Dorit having her therapy session, her crying, realizing she needs more work. Like, she has more work to do in order to actually feel safe. And then it was that. That was it. So the next episode is going to be them going to Mexico, where I think they're going to get Crystal together. They need to. I don't know. Even when Crystal was introduced last season, something about Crystal to me is just off. It's very, you know what? She reminds me of high school girls, where she wants to be liked by Fox Force 5 so bad that she will throw other people under the bus to get in good with them. She can't do that with Garcelle, because for the most part, the women may go at Garcelle, but they're afraid of Black Twitter. And they kind of know Garcelle is like neutral ground for them. But Sutton is kind of like on an island by herself. So, of course, she's going to come for Sutton or throw Sutton underneath the bus. And it just, I don't know. Something about Crystal just don't sit right with me. And the lady just shifty. It's something about when women, especially women that are, I'm not going to say that. it's something about Crystal that is a little off to me. That the wordings that she uses could get people in trouble, because you use dark, the way you said, she said something that was, the way Crystal said, oh, it was very dark. But then you switched up when you got in the group and said, oh, it was problematic, but it was forgivable. That's two different contexts. I don't like when people play with words like that. Say what you mean and mean what you say. But yeah, y'all, that is it. That is all. Remember to be bravely authentic, and drop down in the comments below. Deuces.